Good morning and welcome to today's session of Imagine America Radio, our continuing Career College Exposition webinar series. My name is Bob Martin. I'm the president of the Imagine America Foundation. Joining me on today's session of Imagine America Radio is my foundation colleague, Lee Doubleday. Lee and I are excited about today's career topic, automotive technology, sponsored by Universal Technical Institutes, or UTI. UTI is the country's leading provider of high-quality, career-focused education at 12 locations nationwide. UTI is also a 20-year sponsor of the Imagine America Scholarship and Award programs, having provided admissions-based financial aid to more than 15,000 enrolling Imagine America students. Without taking valuable time from our presenter, let me refer any and all inquiries about the Imagine America Foundation to our website, www.imagine-america.org, or you can call or email either Lee or I at the information available on that website.
Automotive technology careers are some of the most popular programs in career colleges. And since our beginning in 1999, Imagine America remains a leading sponsor of scholarship aid to enrolling high school students. Our country faces a serious shortage in certified automotive technicians, and we hear from employers in virtually all sections of the country desperately looking for qualified employees. So we need to do more. Our partner in today's presentation is Universal Technical Institute, and joining us today to discuss in detail the looming automotive technician shortage and how UTI is helping meet this need is Dr. Stephen Coyle. Dr. Coyle is a nationally recognized expert in this area with an extensive K-12 background.
Before turning the program over to Dr. Coyle, let me just very briefly outline today's agenda. Today's session of Imagine America Radio will be 30 minutes maximum, including questions and answers. Once we finish these remarks, we move directly into today's presentation. All participants can submit questions while the presentation is in session via the Q&A session on the Zoom meeting. At the end of the presentation, or approximately 10:25 a.m., we will then present any and all questions offered by the participants. We will address as many of those questions as possible and provide written responses in follow-up emails. We will have a hard close at 10:30. So without taking any more time out of today's presentation, let me turn today's session over to Dr. Stephen Coyle. Dr. Coyle, the floor is yours.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'll get right into the presentation. The agenda today will be threefold. We will start with challenges facing the workforce. Then we will go to opportunities in the transportation industry and then finish up with Universal Technical Institute's career pathways. I always like to start the presentation off with the changing workforce and how that's changed in the 20th versus the 21st century. We've seen a drastic change. In the 20th century, we were very much an agricultural manufacturing economy with a small amount of service. As you can see, as we move into the 21st century, that has changed tremendously. We have now become almost a completely service-oriented economy. That shouldn't be a surprise to you. If you own a house, if you own a car, if you own a washing machine, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's very difficult to find people to come out to work on things, let alone someone that is qualified. You can even apply that to the restaurant business. When you go out to eat, I'm sure you have all experienced this. You walk up and they say, well, it'll be a 30-minute wait. You turn and you look and you see 8 tables open. You say, wow, why 30 minutes? There's all these tables because they don't have servers. So that applies to a lot of areas of our life right now. You also might be intrigued when you see agriculture has dropped from 41% to 2%. You might think, oh my gosh, are we running out of food? We're starving to death? And quite the contrary. We feed more people with the 2% than we did with the 41%. How? Technology. But technology requires service to keep it going. A recent survey was done with 150,000 students, and they were asked, how many of you would like a skilled trades career? Well, as you can see, a whopping 3% said, yes, sign me up. But that same group was then asked, how many of you would like a STEM career? Over 45% responded with a yes, I would like something like this. There lies the disconnect. Students do not see a connection between STEM and skilled trades. Unfortunately, we have educators that also do not see that connection. We tend to think of STEM as white collar, not blue collar. I like to say STEM is all collar because it surrounds everything we do. STEM career growth it's amazing what's happening now out there. Between 2017 and 2027, it was predicted that STEM jobs will grow by 13%. And I would dare say that's probably increased even over that. Whereas all other jobs will increase by 9%. But the biggest difference is in earnings. If you look at hourly earnings, almost $39 an hour in a STEM career as opposed to $19 an hour in a non-STEM career. We can take that further to an annual earnings, and you can see that in a non-STEM occupation, you can plan to make a little over $38,000 a year. In a STEM career, almost $87,000. So more than double. So that's why STEM is such a great opportunity for earnings. About 20% of the jobs in this country right now require a bachelor's degree for entry. Only 20%. The other sad statistic is that almost half of college grads right now are going into occupations where they either didn't need the college degree or they're not using it. You know, that's sad when you think in terms of how much time, effort, and money they put into getting that degree, hoping for, you know, they had some aspirations of doing something and then it completely changed. So that's why we as educators need to do a better job of helping students with career readiness and career planning. I talk a lot to educators about the old SMART versus the new SMART. People say, well, what is the old SMART? It's pretty simple. Find the best school you can get into. Doesn't matter. Find the best school you can get into. Then once you get there, figure out what it is you're going to do. And you might laugh at that, but how many of you changed your majors? I did. So once we figure out what it is we want to do, if we figure that out, then we walk out the front door, degree in hand, go, here I am, world, hire me. We know that's just not working anymore today. It's just students do not like this approach, and it's just not helping them to get into good careers. You might even look at that and say, how ridiculous is that? Nobody believes that any longer. That's so foolish. But we can, you can refer to the college admissions scandal that we're just now coming out of. You know, we had parents that were bribing major institutions, talking to their, trying to get their sons and daughters into the prestigious schools like Stanford, schools like USC, and now they're serving jail time because of it. So it is very real. So let's fast forward to the new SMART. So what is that? First thing we want to do is find out, what do students want to do? What question do we ask all little kids? What do you want to be when you grow up? Why do we stop asking that question? I challenge counselors all the time at the high school level. When's the last time you asked a sophomore, junior, or senior, what do you want to be when you grow up? Of course, they look at you very indignant, like, how dare you? But, we need to keep asking that question. I used to always say, what's your passion? Your passion can be your paycheck. I don't do that any longer, because what if you're not very good at your passion? You have to think in terms of, what are students good at? Because if they're good at something, they'll keep doing it because they get recognition for it. They like it. So that's what we have to find out first. Then the second part is, what program do they need to be able to achieve this? Do they need a bachelor's degree? Do they need an associate's degree? Do they need a master's degree? Or do they just need competency-based credentials? Do they need a diploma or a certificate, an internship? What do they need? And then let's find the school that they need. Right? Why would we send them to Penn State if they want to be go into cosmetology? That really doesn't make sense. Penn State's a great school, but it's great for certain things. But we have other schools that are great for certain things too. The rule of 127. I talk about this to educators and kind of amazed that more people don't know about this. It's a very simple rule, but it very much applies to what I'm talking about today. If you add 1, 2, and 7 together, obviously you get 10. So for every 10 careers that are out there today, right now, only one requires an advanced degree, meaning a master's degree or higher. 2 out of 10 require a bachelor's degree. Remember I said earlier, 20% require a bachelor's degree for entry. And then finally, 7 out of 10 of the careers today that are available right now only require competency-based credentials, meaning a certificate or diploma, or an associate's degree. 7 out of 10. Yet we're pushing students into school at almost a 70% clip. So you can see we're doing almost exactly the opposite of what the economy is dictating to us. That's why we have the skilled trades gap today. And unfortunately, that gap is not closing. It continues to widen. Skilled trades require STEM. That's all there is to it. We must work harder. You know, I work hard to educate educators. And then educators need to educate parents and students. Yeah, I know parents are tough. You know, I get that question all the time. What do you have that can help me with parents? And I give them lots of different ideas. But you have to remember, parents are part of that old smart, and we have to get them to the new smart. We have to make parents and students understand that skilled trades and STEM are one and the same. And we also have to put an importance on that too. We have to show that they're equal, that STEM careers and skilled trades are equal to other trades as well and to other careers. And then finally, remember that post-secondary education does not mean university for all. You know, we have to get rid of that myth. Not all your students want to go to the college or university. Some of them are looking for competency-based credentials. And why is that? Because that's what employers are looking for. I would also, give you a little piece of advice that would help you with students too, if you want to get more buy-in with all of your students and not just some, is drop the word college out of your vocabulary. I didn't say drop college. College is important, but the word college pigeonholes kids. They tend to think, well, when you say college, they're going to think of Penn State. They're going to think of major colleges and universities. They're not going to think of cosmetology schools or trade schools, that kind of thing. When you say post-secondary, then you take in all types of education. The second part of our agenda is opportunities in the transportation industry. I don't care if it's a car, truck, boat, motorcycle, ATV, doesn't matter. They're all rolling or floating computers. I mean, that's what we have out there. The technology in vehicles today is amazing, but that technology is important. It's life-saving. Think, for instance, the backup camera. You know, I have an old truck that doesn't have the backup camera, then I have a car that does. You know, and it's amazing how much you get used to that. You used to have that. But think of the lives that it's saved. We've all heard the horror stories of someone backing over a child, backing over sometimes their own child. Can you imagine that horror? But with the backup camera, that stopped a lot of that. And then we think of the blind spot indicators. You know, we've all been honked at. Gosh, where'd that car come from? I didn't see him, you know, like that. So the blind spot indicators. Then we have the voice activated navigation so that we can keep our hands on the wheel. I can go on and on and on. But this technology is important, but we have to have people that can work on it. I read an article where farmers are they're looking for older equipment rather than buying the brand new equipment. Why? Because they can't work on it themselves and they can't find people to work on them. And a farmer can't afford to be down in their field. But what is bad about this is that they're losing that technology, which could create bigger yields for them. It could actually make them more money. But once again, we have to have people that can work on this technology. There are over 1.3 billion vehicles in the world today. Over 273 million of those right here in the US, which is why technician job openings by 2028 exceeds 1.1 million. It's mind-boggling, but it's true. We've got to have technicians. The average age of a technician right now is over 55 years of age. We have to close this skills gap. And then finally, the third part of our agenda, Universal Technical Institute's Career Pathways. Who is UTI? Well, Lee kind of explained and Bob kind of explained that at the beginning, but we're the largest school in the motorsports industry. We're the leading provider of technicians. We have 12 campuses across the country, including one at our campus in Exton, Pennsylvania. We graduate over 4 out of 5 our graduates we get them placed into their chosen field. And notice I said chosen field, I didn't say a field, their chosen field. And we have over 220,000 graduates in our 55-year history of UTI. Our training programs are in 8 areas: auto, diesel, collision, motorcycle, marine, NASCAR, CNC, and welding. But when we meet with a student, and by the way, you can't just come to UTI, you have to be invited. And how does that happen? We do a personal interview with the student and their parents, and we talk to them about what they want to be when they grow up. You know, we ask them about what do they love to do. And what we find oftentimes is they may be interested in one of these 8 areas, or they might be interested in something within those 8 areas. There's lots of occupations within these 8 that you're seeing on here. You know, a person may they love cars, but they don't want to turn wrenches. That's okay. Maybe they could be a service writer. Or they could go to work for an insurance company as an insurance adjuster. You know, when you hit a deer, you see all the dents and scrapes and everything on the outside of the car, but what you don't see is all the internal damage. And a trained technician would know to look for that. We do industry-aligned technology. When I say industry-aligned, why do I say it that way? Because that's what the industry does. Dealerships can no longer afford to send their students off to get, or their employees off to get training. So they do it online. That's what we do. We do hybrid education where we do online and we do hands-on. So that way they get both worlds. Then when they go to work in a dealership upon graduation, they're prepared. They go in there with their eyes wide open. They know what to expect. And dealerships love it because they're trained. They're ready to go. Our education model is very simple. You know, we teach in 3-week segments. In 3 weeks' time, we do nothing but breaks, and then we build on that, and we build the technician from the ground floor up. So we're very much teaching competency-based credentials that students then can take on to their next level. Of course, with the pandemic going on, we had to adjust how we teach. We didn't have to go. A lot of schools had to make major adjustments. We didn't. We were already doing the hybrid model. We just had to adjust it to CDC compliance. And we've done that very well. For instance, at our campuses, we have assigned doors for people to enter and leave. We do temperature checks. We require face coverings. We've reduced lab sizes so that we can maintain social distancing and the 6-foot separation that's so important to keep from spreading the COVID. We require the washing of hands. We clean and disinfect constantly, and we offer phone support for people that don't still feel safe to come out. Then we offer that phone support to help them. So why is this important? It's because we are an essential industry. The transportation industry is essential. You know, because of COVID, the demand for technicians didn't go down. No, quite the contrary. So we have to keep feeding that. So that's why it's vital what we do, but we do it within the CDC guidelines. We offer presentations, of course, face-to-face, but we also offer virtual. Depending upon your school and what they're doing, we can adjust to that. We offer a number of virtual presentations. We can do that either on Microsoft Teams or Zoom, or if you have a preferred format, platform that you like to use, then we can adjust to that too. As you can see on the right, the little bit of what we cover. What is the life you imagine is the name of our presentation. We talk about economics to students, the cost of living, that kind of thing. Today's workforce that I just covered with you, and on and on. So we cover these things with your students as well, so that they can make more informed decisions. Because as I said, this industry has not gone away. The demand is still there. We've got to find students that want to fill those technicians positions. We have a national presence. That's important for 2 reasons. Number one, you'd be hard pressed to go into a dealership and say UTI and they wouldn't know who we are. We have that national presence. But more importantly, to the student, it gives them career opportunities all over the country. A student, say, goes to the Exton campus, but then they want to transfer later to Arizona or to Texas or to California. Well, UTI is there as well. So we can help students to get their careers going in those areas too. So that national presence is very important. We have over 35 industry relationships. I call these the big dogs, the BMWs, the Mercedes, the GM, the Ford. These are the students we're training, or the companies we're training our students for. As I often say, we're not training students for Jiffy Lube. We're training students for the major industry. One thing that we love to do is highlight our graduates, because graduates will tell our future students the real deal, what's going on. Students will look at us skeptically and say, well, you're going to say that, obviously. But when they talk to their peers, that's different. You can see there's 3 of them here on this screen. They all have smiles on their faces. Why? Because they're doing what they love to do. So that's huge. But there's also something else that they all have in common. They have a great work ethic. They work hard. UTI is not easy. We want our students prepared so when they go into the industry, they hit the ground running, they're ready to go. And because that's what the industry is demanding. So we want to make sure that our students are prepared and our past graduates can help them with that. We offer grants, scholarships, and loans to make our education more affordable. We are Title IV funded, so therefore we require a FAFSA to see if you qualify for financial aid. We have over $15 million in sponsored scholarships. We have housing grants, institutional grants. We offer third-party programs. But the thing I'm most proud of is our 5th one there, over 4,500 TRIP employers, that tuition reimbursement incentive programs. These companies offer our students upon graduation packages of $10, $15, $20, $30,000. No, they just don't hand them a check. They give it to them in increments of maybe $200 or $300 every pay period or every month. But they can use that to pay off their student loans. They can use that for relocation or for tools. It's proven to be a great motivator for students to finish the program and to get into the field. I'm a retired educator. I know exactly what you all do on a daily basis. You guys do an amazing job with your students. That's why I spend this time with you, so that you can educate your students on the rule of 127, on giving them the facts about career readiness and career pathways. How can we help? We want to partner with you. That's all we want to do. We love to host your students at open houses, or we can come visit your school. And as I said, we can do this virtually if you're not open right now. We'll share the current career pathways in the 8 major STEM fields. We'll explain scholarship opportunities. We just want to partner with you and discuss with students what you're already discussing with them. You can follow us online through social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube. You can find us at uti.edu, and of course our TV commercials. I also want to show you, Sean Salmon is the Regional Missions Director at our Exton campus. He wanted me to announce that we're going to be offering a virtual field trip coming up in the next few weeks. Zoom 30-minute virtual field trips of the actual Exton campus, and they'll also include in that a live STEM demo. So be watching for that in the coming weeks. Here's my contact information. This is my email address. This is my phone. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, comments. I'd love to work with you any way I possibly can. Thank you so much for your time this morning, and have a good rest of your day.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Coyle. We are now going to be opening this up for the Q&A portion of our meeting today. And it does look like we have a question that has come in, this one from the Philadelphia area, that wanted to know if they wanted to talk to a local Universal Technical Institute representative, should they go to the website or just contact yourself directly?
Well, they can do it either way. They can go to our website, uti.edu, and they can make a request and someone would reach out to them, or they can reach out to me. I get that all the time. I get emails, and then I'll forward that to Sean Salmon, as I mentioned earlier, who's the Regional Missions Director there, and he can get it to the appropriate rep, or I can do that myself.
Okay.
Dr. Coyle, this is Bob again, very quickly. The second question has to do with comparisons with community colleges or junior colleges. The caller's asking specifically, how does UTI compare in the length of their program and or the cost of their program with community and junior colleges?
Well, I get that question often, and if you have to look at the total picture, you can't just look at the tuition up front and that's it. And oftentimes families do that. If you look at it that way, then community colleges will be less than UTI. But when you first of all, you need to go visit both and see the differences. But there's a couple of differences. First of all, the time you're going to be in school. Community college, you're going to be there 2 to 3 years. If you go on to the college or university, you're going to be there 4 to 6 years. Whereas at UTI, you're going to be here roughly a year, give or take, depending upon the program that you choose. So many of our graduates are 19 years old and they're out working in the field, maybe 20. And while the students at the community college are still going to school. The other thing too is, as I mentioned just a minute ago, our trip employers. That's a huge equalizer because students could potentially go to school free, but once again, there's a catch. They have to work hard. These companies aren't going to just give that money away. They want a return on their investment too. But if you apply that trip program, then it's a great equalizer. So at the end of the day, we compare favorably with community colleges.
Okay, we did have another question that's come in that wanted to know how would we go about getting the virtual presentation that you had mentioned earlier. They want to be able to show that to their students.
Okay. Oh yeah. Send me an email, or like I said, you can reach out to the campus and ask for that. You can go on our website, or you can call the campus as well. We're staffed, and we can make sure to get a virtual presentation out to you.
Okay, and then we had another question that came in that asked how long are the programs, 1 year or 3 years, or are they all different? And I think you had just previously mentioned that they are all different.
Yeah, generally speaking, 10 to 17 months is that would be the shorter version versus the longer version. So that's roughly speaking there.
Okay.
Let me go over some final details for all the participants before we close. The Imagine America Foundation will compile and forward a set of all these follow-up questions related to admissions in the Universal Technical Institute. Imagine America Foundation also has recorded this session and will forward this recording to each and every one of the registrants. AF will place this session on our website, which I mentioned before was www.imagine-america.org, with very specific download instructions. We're going to be conducting a survey a little bit later, so you'll get something from us that will ask you to evaluate this session. Dr. Coyle, UTI, and give us some ideas on what you think, how we could improve it, or possibly other topics you might like to see us addressed in future sessions. Before closing, I'd like to thank our participants for taking time out of their very busy and hectic schedule to join us today. We know you've got a number of competing priorities, and not the least of which are trying to deal with all those student needs. I'd also like to thank Dr. Coyle for sharing with us today's presentation and encourage each and every one of you to contact him directly with questions.